last time.
Well then, now that the chatterbox Nagito is gone, there are only 6 of you left.
Shut the hell up!
Enough, just fucking start this already.
Hey!
Hello friends and Meisters, welcome back to more Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. Last we left off, we were just prepping for the trial, and as you can see, we've just put on everything we can. Reason why? Because we have the skill point to do so why not? However, I've already taken a look through the handbook and checked for some new skills, however I don't have enough for anything I actually want, barring upshift and downshift, which I could care less about. Anyways, now that the preparations are finished, let's continue on to the class trial.
Alright, for the class trial!
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class
I don't think we really need to.
If you vote correct, I'll punish Oh my! Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
What?
Chesto!
She's quiet for once, so let's frickin' punch her in the face. Monokuma's logic. You evil little thing.
One more time! Jeez! How about this one?
Pegasus, or Meteor Fist, I think it's called? You know, whatever. Oh, well, now it's time for JoJo. Yeah. Mono combo, everyone.
It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
Thank you. I feel quite bad for her too. She didn't even do anything this time.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who was attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid. There's no way in hell
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito is here, right? Are they the same person? Or... well, he said start arguing. It's more like we're deliberating. Ah!
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
Shit.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Coming from the Yakuza? Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place? Well, it may have been torture, but I don't quite think it's for information like the trials pointed out at least. Remember, there's a few things that point towards this.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Not quite for the reasons we think, at least that's the conclusion I've arrived at.
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
Why? What I said makes sense. Of course, it's Kazuichi disputing this.
Just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
This is stupid coming from you. Good Kazuichi. Let's see if we can destroy his reason for arguing.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you obviously assumed he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
I can't back down!
I will not back down. I refuse!
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Which is a good point. What do you have to say, Kazuichi?
That's how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagi and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him...
No, wait, no.
Allow me to cut through.
That couldn't have been after. There's no blood under the tape either. That's the second clue I was pointing out.
No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
Not to mention, there was all those crinkles in the duct tape, looking like he was breathing inwards or at least trying to scream.
What did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
Akane, that's a terrible idea.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Wouldn't be so bad. Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
Clever girl.
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so he wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
It is a good point.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
Can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
Well, it makes sense.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then, let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
Faux show! The reason for the fire, They're right. We need to clear that up first. I already have an idea. Is it part of our ideas?
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused intense wind pressure to tip over the lighter.
She could be on something. It's not intense wind pressure, though. That wouldn't make any sense. Some kind of setup was used to start that fire, so what could it be? Well, it's definitely not throwing the lighter. Have you tried doing that? they go out, for example. Just saying.
The direct cause of the fire was...
An idea of what we need here.
They lit the curtain on fire. Some kind of setup? Did they use the oil as... They probably just threw it based on the shape of that oil. It can stand upright. If they tipped over the lighter, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
Not viable.
Way to tip it over with sound waves.
Not viable.
Opening
The door.
It's the only thing that makes sense. I can agree with her, but it's not quite for the wind pressure. As you remember, we had trouble opening the door. There was a line of panels in front of
Also
it.
agreed that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan.
No.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino.
Domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
Well, they have both, you know, black and white on them.
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second, and from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
That covers the sight, but not the sound of them falling over.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Damn right there is. She knows what it is. The killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. The only thing that makes sense, because like I said, we got sight covered, but not sound, is that damn MP3 player they had going.
I see! You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because her eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, did you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito listen to this depressing crap? No, I'm talking about the music. Kinda really. And as if on cue, it suddenly started.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, I kinda brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Clatter, clatter. Huh? It's not opening. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. I knew it! It's a trap! Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you I'd be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? I kinda ignored their protests and with a mighty kick the door flew open. She must have rolled a 20 on that check.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter. Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
It's a good point, unless they can climb extremely high. There might have been windows, I don't remember actually. I think it was dark when we walked in. If the door was the only entrance to the warehouse, I see, so the problem Chiaki's talking about is that someone couldn't have hidden and slide, much less the killer couldn't have left.
I see!
No escape.
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
Well, I can see why.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Huh?
You don't mean...
But if that's true, this murder,
Hajime? What do you mean?
the person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse, there's only one person who could have done that. Oh no. No. Well, since everyone else was with us, I think she sang. It might have been Nagito?
This is my answer!
Okay, we're right.
What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget? Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember?
Well, it is Nagito.
Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Well, you said it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
No!
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
I think so. Unless she actually thinks men's have tails on their front. If our assumptions that Nagito committed suicide is correct, Nagito should have tied himself up too. That's okay, right? I believe so. That's not what I wanted to look at.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Oh crap, I think I missed it.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but
Tying both arms would be... You couldn't do much with the free... It'd be impossible. How about if you use your front... Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Okay, I think I know what it is. The thing that would be convenient is, it's a fire. He had a bird rope around his hand.
Actually tie...
So that's what I think it is. Am I right? I'm right. Also kind of strange that nothing else on his body was burned in a fire.
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
Well, no, not that.
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
The proof that the burned rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap. Well, it's like I was saying, nothing else on him is burnt. In this case, his sleeve isn't burnt. The rest of his stuff.
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, the sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
No thank you.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
That's not the issue here, Sonia.
That's definitely wrong.
Thank you. But coming from the Yakuza again.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito.
Oh, right.
I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me. Give me back that Benjamin.
What Benjamin? Wait, not only did she try to charge me, but now she wants her money back? What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
A way to stab yourself in the right arm, or right hand using only your right hand. It's okay, there's definitely an answer for this. I think. I'll add a little,
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way? Is he a throwing knife expert?
No.
Maybe he propped the knife somehow? And slammed his right hand down on it?
Propped it onto what? If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand.
The Benjamin. If Nagito could only use the right hand to stab himself in the palm, then how did he do it? I think I have an idea here.
Nagito's right hand was free. How could he stab his
Right hand with it. If he threw the knife into it and let the knife fall.
I don't think even he's that lucky.
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
This is what I'm tending to agree with. Okay, good. You're right then. This also explains the giant hole in blood on the thing.
The life-size Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach. He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it. If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
Doll's hair shouldn't grow in the first place.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
'Tis a good point.
If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Oh god, I shouldn't be laughing at this.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Oh, shut up, you pervert.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For reasons.
Oh my god, no.
Hey, bastards, you better cut it out.
Thank you.
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand while your left hand is tied up.
So you're saying it's impossible?
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty.
Whoops.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right?
What we missed there was... I could never believe that. I could never. Ooh, the voice is gone today, I think.
But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone. If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monokuma's sassing me.
Good.
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. So this might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Kinda deep coming from you.
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible.
Huh?
I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how we made it this far up till now.
Everyone working together.
She's right. We've made it made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. Oh, not to mention all the help from Nagito. Then even now,
Alright, let's do this.
let's see if we can do this.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand. If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth?
No.
Or maybe he used his front tail.
Enough with the tail.
Little guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed. What are you saying?
I think that's a dick,
Miss Sonia's freaking awesome!
not a tail. Wait, no, I know that is. At least I hope that's what she means. If Nagito committed suicide, then he must have used that spear to stab himself. Even if his arms and legs were tied up, there's no doubt he used some part of his body. The only thing he could have used is...
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
Actually, you know what? I got an idea.
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange? He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain. But it's not the only unnatural bloodstain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit. If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
There's only one explanation from what we know. What was Nagito's left hand doing when the blood splattered? It had to have been gripping something.
I see! When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Well, first of all, it's tied up and couldn't reach through. Why am I even?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
Jesus,
Now
Akane.
that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
That's right, that's the problem.
Shocky, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That explains why it has a cord.
I see!
That's the only thing I can think of.
That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
Well, not quite that.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Nagito was gripping the cord extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with the spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
Tea sounds nice. And some crumpets, possibly.
At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time? What does that mean?
Well, exactly what she just said. Take it one step at a time, Sonia.
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
Nagito was facing up, and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that... That's it! Could it be? The state of the spear, and the fact that Nagito was holding the tip of the cord attachment. If I put those together and think about it, I should be able to figure it out. Where the spear was, and what state it was in before it stabbed Nagito. That's a logic dive, I guess. Well, depending on the words it gives me, I have an idea of what we need. Let's see how this goes for me. Is there going to be more witchcraft? There's always witchcraft on This is dumb logic dry. I think it popped up a little faster than I was expecting. Oh no. Okay. Okay, it's getting craftier now. Gotta watch my butt. Where was the spear just before it impaled Nagito? I wouldn't say under him or in his left hand. It does need force to pierce him after all, so this makes sense. Ah, yeah, we're right. But what are these? I don't like this. No, thank you. Bye-bye. No cost and no want. Okay. That one's a little more tricky. It got me. Wee, okay. That was close. Too close for comfort. Beside the spear, what else was above Nagito? Well, sprinklers, yes. A stuffed plushie, but you can't hang it from either of those. That brings me to my next thing. Oh, phew, it's just more of this witchcraft. This witchcraft I can deal with. This witchcraft I don't like dealing with. Oh god! Oh, that was trippy. Tricky game, tricky game. And now it's trying to trip me out again. It's not gonna work this time. Whoop! I think we got this. We're home free. Question 3. What item connects both the spear and the ceiling girder? The spear's cord. So my idea here is that they took the weight, flung it over the girder, and then let the spear drop on him. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, anyways. Ooh. No, go away. I'm not gonna fall for that. Where was the spear just before it impaled Nagito? Above him. Besides the spear, what else was above Nagito? A ceiling girder. What item connects both the spear and the ceiling girder? The spear's cord. In that order, it makes a ton of sense.
The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just before that.
Perpendicular? In the middle of the air?
If Nagito did that all by himself, did he have some sort of ESP?
No, but he did have some pretty bullshit luck.
That'd be awesome, but he probably used the ceiling girder directly above him.
Yeah.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder, and using that as a support, he hoisted the spear directly above him. And if Nagito let go of the cord, the spear would have fallen and impaled him while he was laying face up.
I noticed a slight red streak on the ceiling girder. It probably got smeared there during the setup.
The blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
He probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that. If someone else did this, there's no reason they'd go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
I agree. When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was. Why did the killer use the knife and the spear so differently?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull off his trick?
Then, this is for real? He really committed suicide? Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Not just that, he did all that while he was gripping the spear?
'Tis a good point.
That spear should not have stabbed Nagito until the very end. Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
Did he put the duct tape on his mouth too?
He probably covered his own mouth so we wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far? That's beyond crazy. Why would he do that to himself?
All for the sake of hope, of course.
He was probably trying to get us to make a mistake. By committing a suicide that looked like a murder, he was trying to steer us toward the wrong answer. His goal was to get us all executed.
It doesn't sound like Nagito.
And that's why he stabbed himself over and over again?
Did he want us to die that bad?
That's messed up. That's seriously so messed up.
Yeah, that's our Nagito.
Jeez, and I was starting to feel a little sympathetic towards him. How stupid of me. Well, I do agree you're being pretty stupid right now. I completely underestimated his capacity for malice. A mind-boggling malice that threatens us even after he's dead. And that's the form his malice took. I'd forgotten all about it until now. If he was here, now, he'd probably be sneering at me.
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right? Whatever became of that?
He was probably planning to kill the traitor along with the rest of us.
So why did he not just do that in the first place? If he had no qualms with killing everyone, he did not have to cause a bomb scare to reveal the traitor.
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy behind this trick. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could have killed him.
He tried to make us doubt each other and tried to hide the truth behind his suicide.
Did he cause a bomb scare for that reason alone?
He's a fucking bastard who killed himself for his delusions of grandeur. It's not that unthinkable.
You are right, I suppose.
Yeah, it appears we've come to a conclusion. Bastard Nagito committed suicide. It was all done by him so he'd be executed.
That should be okay, right?
What? You're not satisfied yet?
No, I agree that Nagito killed himself, but I feel like there's something that doesn't make sense. It's probably just my imagination.
Well, I think she's right. Why, I mean, I sort of understand what she's talking about. I don't think it's a mistake to assume that Nagito committed suicide, but why do I feel so uneasy about it? Is it because we don't know who the traitor is, or...
What are you gonna do? Is it okay to proceed with the voting time?
What do you think, Akane?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito's death was a suicide. Oh well, I guess my gut is wrong sometimes.
You are right. It is not as though we can draw any other conclusion.
Then it's okay to end it here, huh? That means we're done with this last class trial and we can leave this island, right? It's okay to reach such a happy ending, right?
Then it's okay? It's okay to say, you've decided on the killer?
No, there's something bothering me. Give me a minute here. I don't know. Which button is it to open up the truth bullets? That isn't it either. It's one of these many buttons. Ah, there it is.
Understood. Then voting time.
No, hold on a sec.
Hold on. Why?
Sorry, just a little more. I want you guys to wait just a little more.
There has to be more to this. I can't believe it's over.
I can't help but feel like there's still something we overlooked.
Like who the traitor is?
But the issue here is who killed Nagito, right? Even if we identify the traitor, the conclusion won't change.
That's true, but...
The mystery isn't just about who the traitor is.
Huh?
No matter how you look at it, Nagito's death is a suicide. But I'm a little worried, you know? I'm worried about starting the voting time while there's still a mystery.
Hey, what do you mean it's not about who the traitor is? What kind of mystery is left?
There's just one thing that doesn't make sense, and it relates to Nagito's death. Plus, it's something even Nagito couldn't influence. He couldn't even tamper with the evidence for it.
Something related to Nagito's death, and it's something that even he couldn't have messed with?
You're gonna keep going? Here I thought we were finally finished.
Something related to Nagito's death, a piece of evidence. And this was what was bothering me earlier.
I see! Is it about the Monokuma file?
Yeah, that's it.
Huh? There was something suspicious in the Monokuma file?
Oh, I'm not reading. I'm reading in my head. The victim is Nagito Komeda. The body was discovered inside the warehouse near the Monokuma plushy factory. The estimated time of death is believed to be noon sharp. Not only is there a spear stabbed into his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm, and a knife impaled through his right hand, sorry. The suspicious part of the Monokuma file that Chiaki is worried about is... what is it? What's hidden in the Monokuma file? Something very strange that really hasn't been mentioned. We should know exactly what it is at this point. Oh, thank you, game. I think I know even more what it is. Oh, crap. I don't remember how to do this again. Right, we have to do that first. Oh, no. Crap. There is too many, Oh, God. Nope, no thank you. Come on, we can do this. Where is it? This is what I need. Oh, God. Come on. Did not expect all these freaking... Ah! Thank you, you came together for me. Oh, come on. No. I am not doing too hot today on this. Okay, why is there so many damn O's? Come on. Wait, I think what did I do? Where is it? Ah, come on. Oh, I really needed that. Come on. Woo! Way too many of those. There's always this Hangman's Gambit that gets me.
In this particular case's Monokuma file, there's no specific cause of death.
Not only is there a spear stabbed in his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm and a knife impaled through his right hand.
Isn't that weird? Until now, the files always specified the cause of death. But the cause of death is obvious, is it not? The spear in Nagito's stomach. It is obvious just by looking at it that it was the cause of death.
Maybe it's not included if it's not important enough to write about.
Well, Monokuma,
I plead the fifth!
There he goes again! I'm so appalled that I have nothing to say.
But even during Gundam's case, and before during Nikon's case, the thing he purposely omitted from the Monokuma file was always the most important mystery in the case.
Exactly.
Are you saying that applies this time too?
Hold on a sec. Then, are you saying there's more to Nagito's death? Are you suggesting, again, that his death wasn't a suicide?
You guys were the ones who said it was a suicide in the first place.
Well, we have to explore all possibilities.
No, I don't think it's a mistake to call Nagito's death a suicide, but it's not just a suicide.
Thank you. At least that's what I think so far.
Come to think of it, did Nagito really commit suicide just to get us all killed?
are you sticking up for him?
That's not what I meant. I mean it in a bad sense.
Bad sense?
I just remembered that his malice always defied our expectations, and that concerns me. For example, would that malice just end here?
Huh?
Did Nagito's malice drive him to risk his life for a truth we'd reach this easily? I mean, this is Nagito we're talking about, you know?
Exactly. Nagito isn't just simple.
How interesting! You sure do believe in Nagito, huh? Because you believe in his malice, you continue to suspect his malice. I see. I guess that's what passes for friendship these days.
What friendship?
What should we do, you guys? Should we proceed with the vote?
The only thing that's bothering me here is, this doesn't really seem in the name of hope to me. That's at least my 2 cents.
I think we should keep going until everyone is satisfied, even if it's just to be safe.
You were right. We only get one chance to vote after all.
Just to be safe, huh? Guess I have no choice. If that's the case, I'll do my best to go along with it.
This is friggin' annoying. But if you guys say you're doing it, there's no way I'm gonna back out.
Hey, Monokuma! You heard us. The voting's gonna have to wait!
We've come this far. Let's work hard till the very end. If we work together, everything should be all right. That's what I believe.
Oh, splendid. You guys are so splendid right now. That's right. If all your hopes are united, no despair can shake you.
If all your hopes are united, no despair can shake you. Now that I think about it, Nagito said the same thing. The absolute hope that can overcome any despair? He said he was yearning for that. Then, this situation we're in might be the thing that Nagito wanted all along. No, never mind. I'm probably overthinking.
Cross trial suspended!
We've made a lot of inferences. We've taken a lot of guesses.
No, no!
Man, my heart was racing like crazy when I thought the voting time was gonna start, but... Well, if you think about it rationally, there's no way it was gonna happen. We haven't done this bit yet. Guess the players probably figured that out too. You're the only one who didn't know. Is that right, Monami? Hey, how much longer are you gonna plan to sulk? Let's get along like we always do.
He calls that getting along, though.
Alright, you passed! Friendship is measured by how long you can stand the silence when you're all alone with someone else. So, Monami, are the bestest of friends. Don't say such stupid things. I hate you so much right now. Enough! Why do I have to be hated that much? Besides, the fact that you snap at me like that, I don't trust you at all, not even a teensy tiny 1 millimeter bit. How sad. Distrusting your friend is much more shameful than being betrayed by that friend, you know. We aren't even friends in the first place. And as your older brother, let me say this. You're not even my brother. It's sad to live a life without friendship. That's even sadder than watching a high school rom-com full of guys. Oh, there may be some demands for that. Oh, I fell for it. I totally took the man bait.
Man bait, oh my god. Anyhow, Meisters, I think that's it for today. We'll leave it here. As I was saying, we've made many inferences, many guesses. We've looked at this case quite thoroughly. But like that man said, we think we're missing something.
I'm Monami, but now there's nothing more for me to say.
Anyway, my chest is full of pride right now. Everyone is united against despair. They're totally awesome. That's why I'm gonna fight too. I will fight the only way I can. I'm gonna show that guy my fearsome retaliation.
Ooh.
That's basically it.
Okay, show us your resistance to all that is Monokuma. Do it, Monami.
So if we're working together, where do we start? With the cause of death missing from the Monokuma file?
Why don't we try removing all our preconceived notions before we discuss this? In the beginning, our discussion advanced by assuming Nagito's death was caused by the spear. It's better to confirm if there are any other possibilities. That's what I think.
Other possibilities. Huh.
If something other than the spear killed Nagito, all I can think of is the knife stabbed into his hand, but...
That was definitely a gruesome wound, but it wouldn't be the fatal wound, don't you think?
If you think the cuts on his legs and left arm aren't the fatal wounds...
Are we finished already?
I feel like it's possible that we overlooked something.
Overlooked,
Then let's bring up whatever we can think of, one after the other. That might clear some things up.
Exactly. We should cooperate at a time like this.
A fatal wound that wasn't the spear. I don't even know if it actually exists, but if it does, we need to find out what it is, no matter what. Well, I get an idea. It's the only thing I can actually think of at this moment. We'll see if it's in the list here. I think it is.
Let us consider a different fatal wound.
It's not the knife in his right hand, right? It's not the other wounds, right?
With all those wounds, maybe he simply bled to death.
There's no way he burned to death. Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
If it's something that can't be seen, maybe he choked himself with a sleeper hold. Or liquefied his guts with a body blow.
Just thinking about it, that's already a horrible death.
Well, what Akane said doesn't make much sense. The first would leave a mark, and I'm pretty sure hitting someone hard enough to do that would also leave a mark. Anyhow, the real cause of Nagito's death, is there something I overlooked? I'm gonna think I have to agree with Sonia here on this one.
Let us consider a different fatal wound.
We'll try this.
It's not the knife in his right hand, right? It's not the other wounds, right?
With all those wounds, maybe he simply bled to death.
There's no way he burned to death. Was the cause of death something that cannot be seen?
Agreed!
I agree with that.
We have a poison bottle. It looks like it's not quite full.
That's it. I totally forgot about that possibility. If the cause of death was something we can't see, then we have to consider poison as a possible method.
Poison? It is true that poison is not something we can see, but why did you bring that up all of a sudden?
I remember, when I went to investigate Nagito's cottage, I discovered something really strange. Inside the refrigerator, I found a bottle of Monokuma's special poison.
Poison?
Additionally, that's a poison made specifically for killing. I see. Now that you mention it, there's no way a toxin like that doesn't relate to the case at all.
If poison was the cause of death, it would not leave an obvious wound on Nagito's body.
However, it's common for blood blotches to appear on a body that's been poisoned.
I see. You sure seem to know a lot about medicine.
Well, he does come from a prominent Yakuza family.
What does that mean?
But even if blood blotches appear, if the body was already covered in blood, there's no way we'd notice them easily, right?
Did he wound his body just to camouflage them?
That's also a possibility.
But still, both of Nagito's hands were full. So how would he drink poison?
His left hand was tied up and gripping the spear, and his right hand had a knife stuck in it.
If it was a slow-acting poison, it is possible he consumed it in advance.
No, the warning label on the bottle explicitly states the effect is instant.
Then it's impossible. Both his hands were full just before he died.
And this is when the hardtail appears.
No!
You're totally overvaluing that tail.
Just why?
His mouth was covered with duct tape, you know. If he wanted to drink poison, how'd he get it past his lips?
If there's no way he could have drank the poison, it might be impossible. Just kidding. It's not like we're out of possibilities yet.
Are there any left?
Hell no. No matter how you slice it, he was totally killed by that spear.
Since we've already ruled out so many possibilities, it might be easier to think about what really killed him. Operation Elimination Method. The hint should be written on the poison's warning label. Maybe.
Well, thank you for the hint. The way the poison entered Nagito's body, the answer is written on the warning label? I should think carefully and try to remember it. Oh boy, it's another lodge drive. Let's go, Hajime. We can do this. They didn't defeat us with the last one. You have this. It's in the bag. Hajime's bag in this case. His bag of answers. Or bullets. Yeah, bullets. More witchcraft, I see. Let's see if they have any witchcraft like the last one. The little movie things that tripped me out. We'll see. We'll see what this game throws at me yet. Question 1. What state was the poison in when it affected Nagito's body? From what we know, and just simple elimination, being as he couldn't have been a liquid, he couldn't have drank it, the only viable method is gas. And we're right, I see. See what type of witchcraft it throws at me now. Oh, okay, that's not so bad. Gonna do what I think it does. Haha, I'm one step ahead. Well, no, you don't. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a pattern, darn it. This game decided that it's gonna screw that pattern up and throw me off. Crafty, I say. Yeah. That slide button comes in handy, I say. When you need to slow down in a pinch. Question 2. How did the poison enter Nagito's body? Through his wounds, through his mouth. We already discussed the mouth thing. I'm not sure if wounds would work. It's either wounds or nose. I'm gonna go with nose. Am I right? Yes. Alright, we got this. Now we just have to make it to the end. And they're gonna throw obstacles at us galore. See what they do. There's a ramp. Not seeing anything too crazy. Oh, lucky. They didn't throw anything glitchy at us. What state was the poison in when it affected Nagito? Gas. How did the poison enter Nagito's body? Through his nose.
Coming together. What if instead of drinking the poison, we assume he inhaled it?
Inhaled?
It's written on the poison's warning label.
Yes. This enchanted liquid is highly potent and takes effect immediately. Please handle with care. Though its volatility is low, this liquid is very dangerous when vaporized.
Dangerous when vaporized. In other words, breathing in the gas is fatal.
Poison gas! Then all he had to do was breathe it in through his nose!
Breathe that poisonous gas inside the warehouse? But if poisonous gas had spread throughout the warehouse, why didn't it kill us?
The reason we didn't breathe in the poisonous gas, I should be able to explain that mystery too. I'm gonna go with the sprinklers.
I see! The sprinklers in the warehouse. Thanks to those, we didn't inhale that poison gas.
The poison gas disappeared because of the sprinklers? It wasn't the fire?
Well, this was also written on the poison's warning label.
In a gaseous state, it is heavier than air. It breaks down in minutes and is susceptible to hydrolysis. So it is possible for you to poison someone to death without any complications.
Of course! Hydrolysis! The chemical bonds that form the poison were broken down by the water from the sprinklers!
Also, the poison is apparently denser than air, so it probably didn't affect us because we were standing.
But Nagito was laying down, so he must have breathed in a whole bunch of it.
If it meets the requirements that well, maybe it's not just a possibility anymore.
Yeah, the true cause of Nagito's death was poisoning. The wounds on his body, the spear in his stomach, it was all to keep us from learning the truth.
So what?
Huh?
We figured out that Nagito died from poison, but so what? In the end, it doesn't change the fact that he committed suicide, right? Then enough already!
Nagito inhaled the poison he prepared and died. Yeah, that still sounds like a suicide.
Well, with this, we have a clearer picture. We've also determined the true cause of death. All right, all the mysteries should be solved now. We should get on with the voting time, right?
Well, but...
What? There's still more?
I mean, All the mysteries have been solved yet. In the end, Nagito's motive is still unclear. Did he commit suicide just so he could kill every last one of us? Was that really his motive? Is that really okay?
What happened? There's no reason to wonder about that stuff anymore, you know.
Nagito's motive. Nagito's malice. Is this really okay? Can we really finish this here? No, that can't be.
He might have been an accomplice.
Huh?
Chiaki, what did you just say?
If Nagito committed suicide by inhaling poison that he brought, then why wasn't there anything that looked like poison at the crime scene?
Anything that looked like poison?
If Nagito brought poison to the warehouse, it's strange that we couldn't find it there.
If Nagito really brought poison to the warehouse, then the thing that would have been left behind is the container. How did it end up all the way back there?
I see! Are you talking about the container the poison was kept in?
Yeah. If Nagito brought it, it's strange we couldn't find that container anywhere, right?
You can't carry around poison without putting it in a container?
Yeah, it was written on the warning label.
Keep this liquid secure by storing it in a cool place, in a glass or plastic container away from sunlight.
The container probably melted in the fire.
It's probably plastic or glass, right? There's no way it'd completely incinerate. Even the plastic fragments of the fire grenades we used to put out the fire didn't completely burn up, you know?
Then, does that mean someone got rid of the container?
So that's why you mentioned an accomplice.
That is impossible. I mean, an accomplice? It is just too...
Like, does that really matter all that much? I mean, even if he had an accomplice, it doesn't change the fact that Nagito still committed suicide.